Hi, I'm Luke, and welcome to DB Clips. Today we want to look at the question, how do I rejoice when I'm suffering? Now, I don't want to minimize suffering or take this topic lightly. Some years back, my wife went through a nearly 2-year period of debilitating pain. And during that time, she mainly lived in a reclining chair in our loft. At times, I would have to carry her up and down the stairs. And we went to dozens of doctors trying to find out what was wrong, and most of the time, we left as lost as we came. If you ask my wife now, she will tell you she was never closer to God than she was during that time, despite the suffering she was going through. Now, how could she say this? Most of the time, if you ask someone what the opposite of joy is, they will tell you sadness. But this isn't true, though. The opposite of joy is despair. Now, a couple of verses that we want to keep in mind. In Hebrews 11, it describes faith as the conviction of things not seen. And in Colossians 3:2, it tells us to set our minds on things that are above and not what's on the earth. Now, this can feel like we're talking about a mind over matter strategy, but that really couldn't be further from the truth. So many times in our lives, we will face situations that are out of our control and where we have no say or choice in the circumstances. And without God, we're left with empty advice the world offers, like, oh, this will pass, or keep a positive attitude, or imagine the you want to be. And these are, in the end, hollow and empty phrases that don't do anything to actually help in the situation. So how do we have this joy in suffering? When bills are piling up, our life is full of pain, we've lost loved ones, maybe we're facing persecution, or any number of sufferings we will have in this fallen world. What is the answer? Well, let's go back to this idea of focusing on heavenly things or things we can't see. In Colossians 1:24-29, Paul says that he is rejoicing in his suffering for their sake. If we want a good picture of someone who willingly, time and time again, endured suffering, we can look at the life of Paul. He would eventually be executed while under house arrest in Rome. And in 2 Timothy, in one of the last letters of his life, he says that his life is being poured out like a drink offering. In all this, though, he describes looking forward to a future hope. But what is this hope that he's describing? It is a love that captured his life so fully that it did not matter what he was going through because he knew who was watching over him. If you've ever seen a child lost in a public place, there is a fear in their eyes that only goes away when they are found and reunited. And this is because they have a trust that tells them it doesn't matter what else is going on, they are safe as long as their mom or their dad is with them. When the Bible talks about salvation, it tells us that we are adopted into God's family, and we're called his beloved children. It routinely describes God as our Father. And so in a world filled with turmoil and trouble, we have a Father who loved us so much that he made the ultimate sacrifice to save us when there was no other hope. Paul is consumed with this feeling as he goes through life, so much so that any adversary in front of him, he knows that it is not his battle to fight, but his Father in heaven who fights the battle for him. Jesus once said, "Don't fear those who can only kill the body." No matter how bad the obstacle we face on this earth, their power is nothing compared to the God who created all of heaven and earth. And we must have a strength within us if we are to face this world, because it promises hardship and suffering. And on our own, we have few options to face it. The gospel tells us that Jesus routinely went away to a quiet place to pray and be with the Father. And when we take time to routinely go to our Father, we will be filled with a love and a hope greater than anything we face in this world. This is dependent, though, on us taking that time out. This is a fast-paced life that constantly demands our time and attention. So then it must be with intention that we take time out to be in word and in prayer. Perhaps you've had the experience of seeing the difference in the morning when you've had a full breakfast before heading out versus a breakfast of coffee or an energy drink. One gives you a sustenance and an energy, and the other just drives you for a time until you crash. And our life is the same way. We have a Father who loves us dearly, and when we have him, no trial or suffering we face compares. When we close our eyes for the final time here on earth, we will open our eyes for the first time in the presence of our Father and Lord. It means that even if the suffering in this life takes everything from me, I have a joy greater than anything I have ever felt waiting just on the other side. If you'd like to learn more about this topic, go to our website at dbcc.com, click on Grow and then Sermons, and look for the teaching series on Colossians, and click on the sermon titled No Greater Adventure. Thanks, and God bless.